For Sports Illustrated Purdue. You guys have been through a whole lot of NCAA experience, good, very good, very bad in the last few years. How much does that help just sort of ease and maybe some calm walking into another round of all of that this year?
You can go down the line if you want to start with us, Trey. Thanks.
I just think anytime you have a certain experience, it helps you. And so just the fact that, we've been here before, we've done it, we've had success, and we've had failures. We know what it takes.
Yeah, like Trey said, having been somewhere before, you're definitely prepared for it, what it brings, good and bad. So just making sure we're prepared and the guys in the locker room are all prepared for whatever's thrown at you.
Third guy here, so same they said, but just understanding each position we're in, each scenario, like they said, we've been through it. We understand how to handle it, and just to help these younger guys out. And I think that's our biggest thing. So,
Thanks, guys. Right here up front. Thank you.
Bill Koch with the Providence Journal. Braden, you have the #1 assist rate in the nation coming into today. I wonder just if you could take us inside how you see the game, how you're able to, sort of manipulate the chess pieces out there.
yeah, well, one, it's my job, and I've been doing it my whole life. But two, I think when you're surrounded by other great players, it makes my job so much easier. So, I mean, yeah, I get them the ball, but they make the shots. So I think just having great teammates, my 3 years I've been here, that's obviously a huge help, and I wouldn't be here without those people. So it's more credit to them than it is to me.
Thanks, Braden. Anything else? More questions for our guys? Yeah, it's got to be coming. Right here in front. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Trey, just going off that, what's it like to play with a point guard where he's looking to give you the ball and get it to you in spots where you can score?
I think it's great. Especially for people who like to score. When you get the ball in your sweet spots and they're on time and they're good passes, it allows me to be really efficient with what I do. But it allows everybody on our team to be really efficient in what they do. So whether it's the big guys getting layups or we have great shooters on this team getting open shots, it just allows everybody to do their job better.
Right here in front.
Braden, there's obviously a lot of history in this tournament of point guard play being successful, leading a team to being successful. For you, having been here before, does it feel like your ability to sort of recognize things quickly and then kind of get the team in position to react to whatever a team is throwing at you in a tournament like this becomes that much more important?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said earlier, just going through all the situations, and we have a older group, like these guys up here, we've been all through those situations together. So it's not just me understanding how to handle a certain situation, they understand it as well because they experience it. And then obviously we have a great head coach that's been through everything as well, so he also understands it and can help us. So I think just having that great supporting cast and people around us and our experience through the 3 years we've been here, I think it's just our job as the older guys and the people that have had that experience to help the younger guys out. So,
Thanks, Braden. Right here in the middle.
Braden, you guys 3 and 6 down the stretch had some rough games there that didn't turn your way. What's been the mentality and the attitude like though? Practice back at home, all that kind of stuff. Like what have the conversations been like the last 3-4 weeks?
yeah, kind of just flush it. It's a new season. Each game is super important moving forward, and we got to win one at a time. Whether that's doing whatever we have to do that, we have to do that, and we all understand that as well. So I think for us, or at least my mindset is flush all those losses down. They don't matter anymore. So this is what matters. This is what we're here for, and we made it to where we want. It's our dreams as kids to be in this tournament, and we're here. So have fun while doing it and enjoy every step of the way and try to get one win at a time.
Thanks, Braden. In front.
Ralph Russo from The Athletic. For any of you guys, they have a fair amount of guys who transferred down. So, I don't know if it's like when you look at them, do they look a little more similar to maybe a Big Ten team? Are you even familiar with some of these guys because maybe they were in your orbit either through recruiting or high school, things along those lines? What's your impression of them? And again, are you in any way familiar with some of these players because of where they were before?
Go ahead, Braden, if you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously here for a reason. They're a great team, and yeah, when we scouted them, we knew they had players from higher division teams that came down, and things happen, but they're still great players. So we understand that, and we're not going to overlook anybody, and I don't think we've ever done that since we've been here. And we understand that, like, they're going to be good, and they're a good team, and they play well together. So we just got to continue doing our thing and take them as if it were a Big Ten game or we're a high-level game. So
All good there? Okay. Good, John.
John Fanta from Fox Sports. Braden, I'll give you one off. I'll ask this to Fletcher and Trey. There's that saying, anything can happen in this tournament. But when you guys have been to where you've gone, I know this is a brand new tournament, what are the keys to showing up for a one-game playoff every time and putting a run together that you can look back on as you get ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think, like you said, anything can happen, and we're a prime example of that. We've seen the lowest of the lows, the highest of the highs, haven't lost to a 16, and haven't made it to a national championship. So just making sure our guys are ready to go right from the tip for 40 minutes and doing whatever it takes to win. I think team could come out and not miss a single shot, but ultimately it comes down to who can take care of the ball, who can rebound, and who can play harder, whether shots go in or not.
Yeah, no, exactly what Fletch said.
There we go. Okay. Anything else for guys? Here. About 5 more minutes, if so. Going once. All right. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow, okay? Thank you.
Matt, John Fanto, Fox Sports. We talk with the players about this. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on it. When you have seen it all in this environment that is a one-game playoff every time you step on the floor, with this particular group of kids they're the epitome of that.
Right.
How does that help everything going into another one?
I think just the respect of your opponent and understanding like how good everybody is in this tournament, and we didn't need some of that to happen because I've been on the other end of it at Southern Illinois, and but High Point is a very good team. They're well coached. I've been in his practices when he was a prep school coach. He coached one of our guys, Raphael Davis. My assistant was on the Creighton staff, like with him, so we know how well coached they are. But anytime you can dominate your league, win your tournament, and win 14 straight games, like that's respect, man. Those guys, that's a hard thing to do. That is a very difficult thing to do in any league that you're in. So our guys understand that, and a handful of them understand that the hard way.
Thanks, Coach. Here back.
Brendan Quinn from The Athletic. Matt, High Point's offensive efficiency numbers are fantastic. What do you see there?
Yes.
And anything you would kind of compare them to for people who haven't watched them much?
Right. Well, I think, they really work the ball downhill. They drive the basketball. They live in the paint. And that's what you want. The stat that we talk about at every halftime is how much are we living in the paint and how much are we able to keep somebody out of the paint. And when those numbers are good for us both ways, we're normally up 10 to 15 points. When it's the other way, it's normally bad news. And they're very efficient. They're very analytically aligned. They're taking threes, but they're also getting a lot of inside-out type threes. But more than anything, they're getting to the free throw line. They're getting layups. And a lot of times when they shoot layups, it's over help. And then they're the best rebounding team, in the Big South. So it's once again, more layups, right? And I think that's going to be a key thing for anybody that plays them, is being able to keep the ball in front of him, trying to keep the ball in the paint and making them score over you, but not score over you at 2 to 7 feet, to try to keep that basketball out more. But that's easier said than done, because the teams that I'm watching on film are not doing it. And so we have to do a better job as a group of keeping the ball out of the paint. I would say that's what jumps out the most to me.
Thanks, Coach. Is there one in front? Right over here. Can we get one right here to the right? Right here.
Hey, Matt. Trevor Haas with the Boston Globe. CJ Cox had no high major offers when you discovered him. What was it that jumped out to you when you first did, and since that point, how has he blossomed to become a starter as a freshman?
Yeah, I recruited a guy for 2 years, longer than that, and really spent a lot of time recruiting him, and really liked him. Big fan. And just the last game of AAU, he played really well against his AAU team, Middlesex Magic, and I didn't know who he was. And then after the game, he scored, 27 to 30 points. And after the game, all of the guys from his AAU team went and hugged him. Every player, every coach. So I didn't know the coach at his AAU team, so I called him. I asked a couple people in that area about him. He said, yeah, his dad played football at Harvard. He's going to be an Ivy League guy. And he's got a handful of Ivy League schools. And I just was like, maybe I just saw him at his best game, right? And I think I did, but so I just started digging on him, and just a hardworking guy. He was older, took a 5th year, very competitive, great academically, can make shots, can make pull-ups, not a quintessential point, kind of a combo, but was just about winning. It just seems all the things that you value as a coach, in terms of what leads to winning, he epitomized. And as I kept going on, and that's a hard thing to do to like jump off a guy you recruited for 2 years that you really like. But as it went on, and the other kid kept making more visits, and people were jumping in on him, I was just like, hey man, this guy wants to, like, really, really wants to be here. And Coach Katie would always talk about that, like, make sure you understand how important that is when somebody really wants to be at your place. So it's worked out. He can guard the basketball. He can make shots, and he can play off of our other guys. He can play off of Braden Smith. He can play off of Trey Kaufman-Renn. But we're very fortunate to have him. He's done a good job for us.
Thanks, Coach. Is there a mic here in the middle? Yeah, go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt, Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. I want to follow up on that. And you said watching him interact with his teammates.
Yes.
How much is that sort of thing, group dynamics and things away from what they're actually doing on the court matter to figure out who you want?
Well, it's also staying with it. One of the things that I found out when I called him was he'd been in their program since 3rd grade. So things, everyone has adversity in what they do, and he stayed with the same program for that long. And then that really resonated with me, that high academics, he's pretty quiet. He gets along with people, but he's pretty quiet. And like, you're just wondering at that point, the why. Like, trust your eyes, trust everything, but like why isn't other people recruiting him? He's been out there. They've had other good players in that program, but you just keep doing your work, and you trust your work there. But you would like more time to get it figured out. The problem is that allows time for other people. But when he did that, it was just they weren't hugging him and doing all that because like he was a bad guy or like whatever. Like they generally were sad for him because that came to an end for them, which in reality it doesn't. Like, you know what I mean? You still have those relationships, and you still have that. And that's what, the college experience is all about. Even though the landscape is shaping, it's still about that. And we shouldn't get away from that.
Thanks, Coach. Here in front.
Matt, Bill Koch with the Providence Journal. Along those same lines of recruiting, I wanted to ask about Braden Smith. You were the only power conference offer that he had,
Right.
Which obviously means that you liked him, but could you have seen this player, an All-American, a guy who
Right.
leads the nation in assist rate right now?
Yeah, I thought he was really good, but it was during COVID also, so I didn't physically go see him, but I had some people close to the situation that played at Purdue before that kept calling us and saying how good he was. I had a commitment at the time, and I didn't have a scholarship, so right as that happened, I jumped right into watching film of about 5 or 6 guys, and he was the only guy that wasn't nationally ranked, but he looked the best on film. But it's not football. Like, I like watching film, but I want to see you in person. But we couldn't do it at that point. But then I trusted some other people in the business and around the business after watching him that he had that competitive gene, and that he was tough, and that he was a leader, and he instinctually can pass. Like, he can really, really pass the basketball.
But no, like it's very similar to the questions I get about Zach Edey. Did you see it that he was going to be a 2-time National Player of the Year? No, I didn't. But you don't. If you can see that, then we've only been able to get one McDonald's All-American. Like we're probably going to fall out of favor there. Like we're not gonna get that one. So, but like no, our guys, it's a real unique deal. So like when we win, people say we're great at developing players, and when we lose, we don't go in the portal enough. So yeah, it's kind of like being married, right? You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like it's like, where's the answer where everyone's happy? That's all I want, right? But that's part of competitive sports. That's part of sometimes you're going to have growing pains in development. Some of the losses that we had, he was our guy. He was our guy. But the major wins that we've had, he's been our guy. And so I think that loyalty is a two-way street. And so when we have struggled and he's been running the show for us, we've stayed by him and stuck with him, but he's also stuck by us. And I think that's a special bond. It doesn't mean things can't happen and people break off and people go and do different things. But, that loyalty is pretty important. It's pretty important to success.
Thank you, Coach. Very good.
Sports Illustrated, Purdue. Matt, Braden and Fletcher and Trey are up here. They've got a lot of experience in playing in this tournament and such. But you've been a top 4 seed for 8 years in a row now, and Sasha Stefanovic and P.J. Thompson were part of that as players too. Can you talk a little bit about their role in communicating things to especially your younger guys as to what they can bring to all this years of experience too?
Yeah, well, P.J. and Sasha's voice is really important because as a lot of people in this room know, as you get older, sometimes the youth of America doesn't listen as well. So like them being able to pass on their experiences and share things with them, good and bad, I think resonates with them. I think you have to have that in a program. You have to have youth, but they also have to have wisdom. And I think that's what they have. I think that's what PJ and Sasha have. They're mature for their age, and they really have helped our players, not just offensively and defensively, but just how to approach things and how to handle things, especially adversity.
Right here.
Matt, you were talking about loyalty, and this time of year with whether it's coaches starting to move, players starting to move, portal getting ready to open, blah blah. Like, what do you address in terms of blocking out noise, or because it's kind of natural that these conversations are already happening, even though you're preparing for a game. So how do you address kind of the inevitable?
Yeah, you really don't. It's something you talk about. Keep your focus. You've worked so hard to be here. Be here. Like, be here. Like, be in the moment. Like let's compete. Like, what we did from the start of June to now is about right now. Like, but also have fun with it. Like, make sure you have fun with your experiences. But a lot of things that end up happening, like, you just got to move quicker when it's over. And that's what that's what the business has presented us, right? And so, like, right as it's over, it's like, hey, take 2 weeks off. We'll come back. We'll talk about things. No, it's like, take no time off and let's have our exit meetings. And here's where you are. Here's where you're going. Here's where your money's going to be. And like, you're trying to once again like put your jigsaw puzzle together that just ended, but you have to move towards that. And just because somebody leaves, I know I used the word loyalty, it is part of it, right? If you don't embrace and adjust and understand like what's going on, it's going to steamroll you. And you might know all those things and it still steamrolls you, but you still move to the next. You got to be able to move to the next thing and just be honest. Like, I think if you're honest, you're going to get yourself in a better position, as a coach. Don't say one thing in a meeting to one player that you couldn't openly say to another one. Just be honest about where you are, and if someone's going to leave because they're going to make more money or they want a different role or whatever, cool. Like, now the rules allow you to shift. Like, look at some of the teams in our league that people like ranked 15th and they got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or whatever the hell they got, because you're able to shift real quick and get some quality players. And now that dynamic, hopefully after this year, I think the following year hopefully we'll have more stability in that area where we have like a cap, to where like now we don't have extremes to where people have those advantages from a money standpoint. But the thing I don't like about it is 99% of college basketball don't play professional basketball. It still helps so many people have an opportunity that wouldn't have an opportunity for education, but also have a better start to their life and have a better life. I just don't like that issue of it. Now to the 1% to 2% or whatever it might be, whatever, I get it. I get it. That's your dream and that's what you want. But some guy chasing money that's never going to be a pro, I don't think that's a bad, like, hey, why not? Like that's your thing. But somebody that is going to be a pro or has a great chance to be a pro, the most important thing for you from a basketball standpoint is your development, and the big money for you is in the NBA, not in college. But if you're not going to be a pro, see, that's who I think should chase it a little bit, the guys that aren't pros, because you're not going to go make it that way. You got to go in the rest of the real world like us. I average 4 points, right? Like I'm not going to leverage somebody. How the hell am I going to leverage somebody? I haven't made a shot in a month. So like that is like, that's where you get in between stuff. When the guys that think they're pros that aren't pros, you don't want to take their dream away from them. But it's like, I know this, like the happiness you have from coming together and sacrificing and winning games and being in this tournament. Like we can win this next game, we can lose this next game, but we've all had that experience together and that journey together. And that's pretty cool. Like that's pretty cool and that's unique. So if you're always chasing things, and you don't recognize that. If you can get it all, like God bless you. Like good for you, because that's what it's about. That's what you want to see.
Thanks so much, Coach. Unfortunately, I think we'd have you moving on here. We're out of time. Best of luck tomorrow. Appreciate it.